Connection is something we all feel very, very strongly on a day like today. I feel connected to all of these graduates behind me. Their achievement is the sole purpose of this institution. You all out there feel connected to them as well. They're your sons, your daughters, your friends, your family. Connection is vital to success. No person here understands the concept better than today's keynote speaker, who is often referred to as the most connected man in America. Like many of us here today, Keith Ferrazzi comes from humble beginnings, but through savvy and hard work and pure willpower, he is now one of the most celebrated speakers and business thought leaders in the nation. His subject matter, building relationships with a trusted team of peers who provide perspective and candid advice that advance careers and personal well-being. Keith is a New York Times best-selling author who's won as many awards as we have graduates today. He is also the mastermind behind Ferrazzi Greenlight, a research institute focused on human behavior change that drives organizational outcomes. Please join me in welcoming a global leader of tomorrow and today, Keith Ferrazzi.
So the first and most important thing is, give me a thumbs up. Is everyone safe and sound from the back row there? Are we all good? Okay, good. I was very happy about that. So, look, one of the things that I know for sure is that this group of individuals have worked hard. Tell me if you understand that they have worked hard in the last couple of years. Now, what I'm here to do in the next 10, at most 15 minutes, is to create a commitment between you all. My commitment to you is I promise not to be boring as best I can, all right? And your commitment is if I say something here, and I'm going to focus on 3 things that I would like you to try to do differently in order to maximize the potential of this last 2 to 3 years, 4 years of work. And if you think I'm not boring, then I ask you the same commitment that you're going to take something I say today and you're going to put it to action. Is that agreed? Okay, good. And by the way, y'all can learn something too, okay? So where I came up from, I'm an immigrant family. We're all from Italy. You can tell from the accent. And my father was an unemployed steel worker most of my life. And when he wasn't a steel worker, he was a ditch digger, or he worked at a gas station, or he worked construction. My mother was a cleaning lady. And I don't know if that story is at all familiar to anybody in this room, but I know how hard it was for all of you to get to where you are today. No matter what your backstories are, that work now has to get turned into action. And what I'm telling you is that the hard work that got you here may not be the same kind of hard work that's going to get you there. The hard work that got you here might have been sitting down with a book, studying hard, making sure you're getting the knowledge into your heads and being able to respond well to testing, etc. But I can tell you, but from here to there, it's a different kind of hard work. It involves much more richly and much more deeply the help of others. And your success in the future is going to be contingent upon your ability to walk around the world and create an environment around yourself that invites people in to build a relationship with you so that you can be great, so that you can be successful. Your key to success is going to be with others. Every opportunity I've ever had in my life, and I have had some amazing opportunities. I was the youngest partner at Deloitte & Touche. I was the chief marketing officer at Starwood Hotels and Resorts by the time I was 30 years of age. Created something with the whole team called the Heavenly Bed. I don't know if you ever heard of the W Hotel chain. That's something that we created together. But I have to tell you that none of that stuff would have happened if it wasn't for other people. Other people was the core to my success. Now, I don't know if y'all recognize that to date, that's probably still been true. Teachers and parents and friends who have bent over backwards for you, whether you knew it or not, but I can tell you going forward, it's absolutely crucial. So the first thing of 3 things that I'm going to talk to you about today is your need to recognize that relationships are critical to your success. Every dream, every hope, every aspiration that you have, it's only going to happen with people. If you want to get a new job, guess who's going to hire you? A person. If you want to find a new opportunity, guess who's going to find that for you? It's a person. What is your ability to build those relationships? And here's the key, and many people out here know this. You need to build those relationships before you need them. If you don't build those relationships before you need them, then all you're doing is walking around looking for a job. What I want you to do is I want you to have the kind of relationships in your life so that in the future, when you need something, when you need people to really have your back, they're already there because they love you, they care for you, and you've been working with and for them for a long period of time. So you build relationships before you need them. Let me just understand. Y'all understand the relationships are critical to your success? If so, say yes. All right, y'all understand the relationships are critical to your success? If so, say yes. All right, so let me just ask, how many of y'all have a to-do list? A little list to write down of stuff you have to do. Raise your hand if you have a to-do list. You know, and productivity is important, so we write stuff down. A to-do list is important. But we just said relationships are important to our success. How many of you have a people plan? How many of you have a relationship plan? Now, this is true for everybody out here. What dream or goal do you have in your life? What do you want to do in the next 6 months that's important to you? What do you want to do in the next 18 months? What do you want to do in your life that's important to you? I want you to write down a people plan. What's a people plan? You got your goals, and then you say to yourself, here are the individuals I need to build relationships with to achieve those goals, right? And then once you write those names down, it could be your boss, it could be people, might not even know the names of these individuals. You're gonna write down, I want to meet somebody who's exceptional at being a paralegal. You know, he or she has been in that job for so long and they're making X amount of money and they're loving their job. I want to meet somebody like that. And you write that description of a person down. And I want you to put those names in your pocket and I want you to walk around the world asking everybody, do you know people that fit this description? Can I meet people? Can I learn from people to fit this description? You get it? I want you to put a relationship action plan together. Now, the one thing I want you to say is when you get that name down, it's not just about what you want from them. When you get that list of names down, you need to ask yourself a question. How do I serve them? How do I help them? So when I was just a kid in a big consulting firm called Deloitte, the CEO of the company, I met him once at a cocktail party, just once. And I asked him the question, I said, sir, before you retire, what do you want to have achieved while you were CEO? And he said, well, you know, someday I just love the brand of our company to be one of those brands that people know. And I said, okay, sir, thank you very much. And I didn't make any big deal of it at that point. What I started to do is I started to research on my own time. What does it mean to market a professional services firm? I read articles. I followed people on social media who had similar jobs. And about once a month, I wrote down stuff and I sent it to my CEO. And I said, you said you wanted this firm to be great someday. Here are some ideas. He never asked me for that. And I was just a kid in the organization. And at some point, he really started to get serious. And he said, you know, I need to build a marketing organization. And what he did was he thought, well, there was this kid that's been sending me this information all this time. He called me up and he said, hey, would you come and do a project for our company around the future of marketing? And I said, of course I would, but under one condition, sir. He's like, I didn't ask for conditions. I'm giving you a shot at something. I said, well, okay, but if I really do a great job, would you make me head of marketing? And he said, no. He said, that's silly. You're just a kid. I can't make you head of marketing. He said, you'd have to be a partner of the firm to be head of marketing. And I said, okay, well then make me a partner. And he said, no, just shut up and come and do this project, right? So I came and did the project. And guess what happened? 2 years later, I was the youngest partner ever at the firm, and I was chief marketing officer of the organization. And it all started, thank you. But it all started because I knew my job was to recognize that great people were going to be critical in my life to be successful. And when I met somebody great, what I did was I said, okay, I want to find a way to stay on that person's radar screen. I want to find a way to serve that person. And if I serve that person, someday good things will happen for me. You understand that? That's what I want you to do with your relationship action plans. Now, and by the way, the other thing you do is when you show up, just be yourself. Now that's a little tough because sometimes there's a comedian, Richard Pryor. Y'all know Richard Pryor? Yeah. I'm sure Richard Pryor is quoted in commencement speeches all over the country today. But Richard Pryor used to say, everybody always says, be yourself. But what if yourself is a jackass? You know, sometimes we all do things that make us unsuccessful. Sometimes we do stuff that holds us back. So my second thing to think about for each of you is, what do you do that you know you've done it all your life and you still do it, but you know it holds you back? Sometimes it's having a temper, sometimes it's procrastinating, sometimes it's only focusing on the stuff that you love to do, not the stuff you know you need to do. Sometimes it's avoiding conflict and not claiming your voice and telling people what you deserve. What are the things that you do that hold you back and you keep doing them anyway? Do you have any sense of that? How many of you know stuff that you do that holds you back, but you keep doing it anyway? Raise your hand. Right. There's a couple of you who didn't raise your hand. Right? So I just look at the gentleman in the pink lay there. You want to stand up to for a second? He didn't raise his. Do you have family here, sir? Is his family here? Yeah. Do you think there's stuff he does that holds him back that he doesn't know about? Okay. Would you talk to them afterward? Because I got to tell you something. Everybody in this room has stuff you do that holds you back and you keep doing it anyway. And all we got to do is be open to listen to the people around us who see it and love us. You got to start embracing feedback. You got to start asking. Now, by the way, you don't have to agree with them. They probably have 20 things that you need to do differently. Just pick one, right? Just pick one. So far I've given you 2 things to do that are really important. Number 1 is recognize relationships are critical to your success. And I want you to think about one person you want to go build a relationship with. One person. By the way, how many of you think that building a relationship with me, for instance, would be valuable to the future of your careers? Raise your hands. Right. Guess what? I've been hanging out here since 11:30 and nobody came up to me. That was a missed opportunity. I'm serious. I'm hanging out, talking to Dr. K here, just hanging out, right? And I was sitting drinking a cup of coffee. Listen, my pop used to say it's the 7 P's. Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. If anybody wanted to spend a moment with me, you could have grabbed me in advance. Don't miss those opportunities in the future. Make sure that you think about in advance who are the people that are around you, that all you need is a second of their time, like I had with the CEO of Deloitte, a second of their time to ask them a couple of simple questions, and based on those questions, you can work to serve them in the future to the point that you'll be on their radar screen and you'll be creating greatness with great people, okay? So make sure you don't back down from that in the future. So number 1, you're going to pick one person you're going to go build a great relationship with. Number 2, you're going to identify something in yourselves that holds you back, and you're going to bust through that glass ceiling of whatever it is that holds you back, whatever that tape is going to be playing. And the third thing in the last minute that I've got with you is I want you to find something that we call a lifeline relationship. A lifeline relationship is a relationship that won't let you fail. A lifeline relationship is something you can let your guard down with and be vulnerable with. A lifeline relationship is somebody that you can tell the truth to and who will tell you the truth, and without a question, even if you don't want to hear it, they're always going to be there for you. Who are your lifelines? Do you have lifelines today? You know, years ago, when I was going through a tough time, I asked my mom a question. I said, Mom, you used to have a group of ladies that you used to hang out with once a month. You know, what was that group called again? And she said, that's my card club girls. And her card club girls were a group of ladies that once a month they got together and they played cards, no matter what. And I said, Mom, what did that group do for you? And she said, well, when your Aunt Wilma was about to pass away, we got together with her 2 days before she died. We sat on her bed, we played cards, and we said goodbye. That was the group, Keith, when your dad was unemployed for 6 months, and your dad was too proud to go on welfare, and we were just eating what was called welfare cheese back then, which is this stuff that they would get distributed in Pittsburgh. When that was happening, those girls used to cook extra and always bring something down before your dad would get home from work if he was out, you know, doing odds and end jobs, just so that we'd have food. And when your dad died, and I didn't want to leave the house, that group of girls made sure that every night I got out in some way until I was ready to get out on my own. That's a lifeline group. Who do you have in your life that's for that? And what I can tell you is that if you don't have a lifeline group, you're not going to achieve the kind of success you want. In fact, you're probably not going to do number 1 and number 2 because your lifeline group are the ones who give you butt-kicking accountability. They're the ones who hold you accountable, push you. They're the ones that make sure you don't fail. They're the ones that make sure that you get up and walk across that aisle and shake that hand of that person you were embarrassed to talk to. They're the ones that are going to make sure that they constantly push you to be great. That's the contract with your lifeline group. How many of y'all have lifelines out in this room? Raise your hands if you have lifelines. How many of you have lifelines in your life? You're better off than I was, because I couldn't say that I really had one at the time. And so I started down a path to find it. And that's what I want for you all. So there's 3 things you got to do. Number 1, whatever your goals are, whatever your careers are, I want you to identify a few individuals, just pick one individual at least, and start pursuing them and finding ways to be of service and finding ways to help and finding ways to learn from these individuals that are going to be critical to your career. Number two, I want you to identify something that you do that holds you back. And I want you to tell your lifelines what those are. And I want you to say to them, anytime you see this behavior, I want you to kick me in the butt and hold me accountable and make sure I don't do that anymore. Because these individuals are the individuals that are going to determine whether you have the greatness that you deserve. It's about other people in your life, and God bless you. I hope you find them, and God bless you. I hope you have all the success that you've worked here with and through other people. God bless you.